Wednesday, let's chat. And today's session is part of the Jobs 20XX series together with OUE. What we're doing in this series is talking about people who, talking with or discussing with people about the jobs that they get into. And in today's session, we've got 4 people who've decided to go it on their own instead of joining the corporate race. As always, in our sessions, we have a Q&A session as part of the discussion. So please include your questions in the Q&A box that's on the, that should be on your screen. And we'll try and address those as we go along. So let me just introduce today's panelists. We've got Debra Teng, who's an actress and architect turned actress, coach, yogi, property, a whole lot of different things. And she was Dumax Baby of the Year as well. So welcome, Debra. We've also got Helen Ong of Senses.Live. She's an environmental alchemist. She uses Chinese metaphysics or Feng Shui, together with BioGeometry, which is, it's old, but it's new sort of science. And the whole idea is to help people operate in an ideal environment. She tries to get the perfect space for people. Welcome, Helen. We've got Juria Banding, a graphic designer by training and in practice for the longest time, but she caught the showbiz bug. And while organizing a concert, she also wound up becoming Ramli Sarip's manager. Welcome, Juria. And
thank you for inviting me.
You're most welcome, Juria. And we have Tama Goh. He was about to build a career as an engineer, but decided to drum up the courage to become a musician instead. He drums regularly for Jeremy Monteiro and has worked with musicians like Sarah Brightman, Ronan Keating, Francis, Laura Fiji, among others. So in this group of people who are in a wide range of entertainment and space managing careers, welcome to this discussion. So I'd just like to find out, how has COVID affected all of you in your respective areas? I'm sure you know, it's put a hold on many things that you would have done otherwise. But how has it helped you? Has it helped you refocus your thinking in terms of what you're doing? So let's start with Helen. How has COVID worked for you?
It definitely affected me a big deal because my job involved me visiting my clients. And, you know, in situations like this, you know, the initial knee-jerk reaction from the clients would be, oh no, we're all shut down. So, you know, we shouldn't be seeing each other. But that didn't stop them from communicating with me, of course. And it took a while. It took a while for people to realize, like now, that balancing their home is essential to help them, you know, to live in a safer environment, a more comfortable and safe environment in terms of, you know, by understanding the disturbances in the environment, like your EMF, your radiation, so on and so forth.
You got something for COVID as well in your mix?
Yes, of course. COVID is all about, you know, your immune system. You know, some get it worse, some doesn't get it. You know, like some doesn't get it at all. So it all has got to do with your immune system. So if you have an environment and you took care of yourself, you know, and particularly biogeometry, we don't just take care of the environment, we take care of the individual. So they have personal wearables, they have charts, they have, you know, stuff like biosignatures that help to raise the immune system and to prevent one, you know, from falling sick, you know, let alone, you know, facing COVID. Yes.
Okay. So it looks like you've been holding on quite well. That's very good. How about you, Debra? How's it going with you? Can't hear you, Debra. Yeah.
For me, sorry, I was just replying to Lina's question in the chat box. Well, what had happened was before COVID, I actually had a whole string of jobs booked. So for those of you who don't know, I am a life coach. I do corporate training, corporate facilitation, and I am also an actress. And so I juggle a number of different things in my life. And before COVID, actually, I had a number of jobs booked, and quite a number of them because I do corporate training around the region. So involve a lot of flying. Quite a lot of the jobs involve flying to China, Philippines, Bangkok, Indonesia, and suddenly when COVID came, all my jobs were cancelled, mostly because I can't travel anymore, right? And the organizations were not really quick enough to pivot immediately to Zoom training. Of course, in the last, I think, 2 months, I've been doing nothing but Zoom training for the projects that I was meant to be flying to China and all that to do. So suddenly now they all turn to Zoom training. So for me, yeah, a lot of the income was cut because suddenly no work for a few months. But I actually really enjoyed it and really appreciated the time to myself, because when I was doing so much traveling, I didn't have the time to really focus on taking care of myself. Like I would be sleeping really late because I'm always like working on my programs and all that, and I'll be flying, I'll be eating badly. But during COVID, for a really good period of time, I was able to just wake up and just do my exercise like I always wanted to do, and really be very selective about what I eat, because I was doing my own cooking and I could decide what I put in my body. So to be honest, I felt like in my best form, physically and health wise, during the whole COVID period, even though money wise was the complete
Yeah.
opposite. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's
So
always
you live
something
in,
good out of
you
it.
have to roll with the punches, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Juria, what's it been like for you?
Of course, it affect me and the music and entertainment industry, especially in Malaysia where the business are. And I back in Singapore on the day Malaysia lockdown, 18th of March. And for the first time, I feel so scared because the plane that take me home is already about 5 of us Singaporean. I feel like, oh, really scary. And then when I touch down as later, no one, and then it's quite strict, taking care, the entry safe, quite strict, and I have to go through the 14 days quarantine at home, and the government is watching me that time. They call me time to time.
They still be watching you, don't worry.
They even knock the door and without informing us they are coming. So really serious. Yeah. And I'm glad now we've been here for 7 months already. There's some small job here that we did for association and all that. Like 1 or 2 songs online. We just do it.
Got to keep the music playing as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Tama, as a musician yourself as well, what's the situation been for you?
Pre-COVID, yes, we had a lot of concerts before COVID, and then concerts booked at Esplanade Concert Hall, and then for traveling to China and even the UK, that is all being cancelled. And all of a sudden, I find myself staying at home for a few months during the phase 1. And then I continued to practice as usual, Mondays to Fridays, between 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. And then I became a better cook. And then also I went on to a lot of outdoor and indoor exercises that I don't do because I'm a member of Safra Gym since 1986. So I got fitter and I lost weight. And because when I cook, I use a lot of coconut oil and olive oil, and so it's not hawker food. So I became slimmer. And
everyone go healthy, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks
so
like
that has changed, and then I'm now in danger of becoming a full-time drum tutor. Because I used to decline a lot of private tuition because of my commitment to the concerts. So now some of the parents are calling me and says, "When's your next gig?" And then I say, "No, there's no gig now." So when I will inform you when the next gig comes by. He says, "Yeah, so now you can teach my child." So
that was a loaded question.
Yeah. So I can't say no to that. So I ended up getting back some of the students that I did not even start to teach at all. So
what's going to happen when your concerts start up? What are you going to do with your students?
Okay, right now what I do is I stop taking new students. So I just concentrate on those that I have now, because I have the SAF band professional musicians to teach as well. And then I have also the NIE. So all these are, I'm following their music exam schedule and programming. So I have to help them with that. So I need to help them to complete that. So right now, I kind of slow down on taking new students and still want to continue to practice and have a lot of time for myself and also the gym and just all by myself. I just want to do things for myself.
Looking after yourself, right? So
yes.
Just going back to the question that I asked Debra earlier, at which point did you decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to become a musician? What were the factors that made you take the decision?
Well, in the beginning, I always wanted to be a soldier. I wanted to be in the Singapore Armed Forces Commando unit, but I have the love for music since I was a child, and been constantly struggling between these two. And when I failed to get into the SF Commando unit because of my eyesight, so I decided that maybe I should just focus on my first love, which is music. And then from then onwards, I went into the People's Association, and then I started to study and learn about our local cultural music first. Then, because of that, I can focus on the Western music and other music culture. So being a musician, I think we need to know more about other people and the culture and the food. And if I can, I'd like to hang out with them. So from then onwards, I started to do music. Sorry?
Hang out with the food or the people?
The food and the people. Yeah, so that's how I became a musician, and I never turned back because I just followed my heart, Yeah, I did not even think about the economy. It was just all about let me serve the music. Yeah. Okay.
Juria, for you, I mean, you were doing a lot of magazine designs and stuff like that. Juria and I used to be colleagues at one point. She designed the magazines that I was working on.
I think the job chose me because I had the verge of doing something interesting that time. When you are at the last leg of your 40-something, the special 40-something, and I want to do something else. And that's where I try to, with a group of friends, we're doing concert, and that's where I meet my boss now. For that crossover to the industry for music and entertainment is really overwhelmed because it's different altogether. There's a lot to learn, but I enjoy it and I'm happy with it. And
so
at least I make.
Yeah, so for you, being a woman in that environment, was it very difficult? Because now you have to manage a group of men, and not just normal men in an office environment, but musicians with their own mind, and how is that?
At the beginning, I had to be a nice person and then get bullied sometimes. But at the end, they have to follow me because the business is with me, right?
Okay. So when you say the business is with you, what did you do to develop the business?
I take the job. I create the job. I see all these bosses or TV station or something. Back in Malaysia, there's so many jobs, live band. Unlike here is a very small market, especially for Malay music. Malaysia is like every weekend you have shows and with a live band. So that kind of thing that they all have to work with me, whether they like it or not. I think I'm quite nice lah. And I got to know all the TV station, and then to make sure my boss have on par salary with the A-list artists in Malaysia.
Okay, cool. Helen, for you, you were working with a design company before, if I'm not mistaken, before you made that crucial decision to go solo, right?
I'm trained an interior designer, so I ran an interior designing firm for many years. And being in a corporate market, you get your clients to suddenly subscribe to Feng Shui, for example. And 6 months into the project, the client said, "This is my Feng Shui master. Please change the design." So, as an interior designer, how pissed can you be, right? So I went to learn Feng Shui to kind of figure things out, to see if this is valid, do they really make sense? And it was great because along the line that I picked up some gems and realized that, hey, if you understand design, this can be really cool. It doesn't need to look tacky. So I was the first, in 2003 to go into this launch, to say that we are the first company in Singapore to integrate design and Chinese metaphysics together. And to my surprise, it was very well received. And people think it was so cool, instead of looking for a Feng Shui master to come in, now you have an interior designer who understands Feng Shui. You get a 2-in-1 under the roof. And then years go by, and I was not satisfied with what I learned in Feng Shui. And I just think that, hey, what about this radiation? What about the EMF? What about the other modern technology that we're looking at? Because, those days in the dynasties, the emperor doesn't use Wi-Fi. He doesn't have a mobile phone. He doesn't have a router in his palace, right? So environment was really different at that point in time. And theories were written, principles were written during the ancient time. And we're talking about modern time. How much can be applied right now? And that's how I went into my search and research. And thankfully, I have very nice people around me who pointed me to biogeometry. And I realized that, hey, they're very similar in so many ways, except that the science of it focused, very much on the physics of qualities. And with that, it makes so much sense. Like doing music, for example, you understand harmonics. It's just the same. In biogeometry, we look at harmonics, we look at waveform, we look at why these waveforms coming from the Wi-Fi, coming from your electricity is wearing you off or compromising your immune system at the same time. So yes, I did not seriously plan it. I would say I'm very fortunate. Feng Shui came to me, biogeometry came to me my way, and I picked up the gems along the way, and they became part of my life. So I'm the lucky one who get to do things that I love. I didn't think about, can I put food on the table? Is this going to make sense? Is this going to be a good business, agenda? No, it's something that I seek joy in doing every day, and it gave me so much satisfaction in that sense. Yes.
Okay, so you're a magnet for things.
Yes,
Good.
I've been lucky. I've been attracting gold into my life.
Okay. We should hang out with you a bit more.
Yeah,
And
why
rub
not?
off some of that. For all of you, the decision to go solo was it happened. It's taken place. What was the next thing you did? Did you think, I'm doing this on my own now. I'm alone. What do I have to do to plan for the future? Do I need to do a business plan? Do I need to put certain things in place? What were the first things that came to mind? This is also to help those who may be considering going down the solo path, because given the times, I think there are a lot of organizations that are going to be folding, that are going to be cutting jobs, so people will be looking at how they can do something on their own. What were your first steps after making the decision to go out on your own? Let's start with you, Tama.
Well, as a musician, I would just love to be playing on stage all the time and hanging out with musicians and having fun. Then what I started to do was to start a music company to provide entertainment to the special events and concerts. But that's because there are times when all of a sudden I'm given some money to manage the musicians, and I wanted to pay tax, so I started to register a company and make it work. And then the next thing you know, the company has to employ a clerk, and then we have an accountant, and it became private limited and all that. So the musician need to sustain not only himself, but to try to sustain the musicians' friends and families in the industry. Then all of a sudden I find myself wanting to influence everybody to take care of each other and maintain the market price. And also there are certain ways we need to behave in the industry and how we work with the equipment guys, the suppliers, and we became suppliers, and we also allow ourselves to be provided to other events. That means we can be hired, and or we hire some people. And then for me, being able to work as a leader and also as a sideman. So these are the things that the musicians or the artist practitioner should take, because in the beginning it's always fun and love and follow the heart. But after a while, we need to get to the logistics and operational stuff, and also doing it legitimately and organize our life. So as a musician, sometimes I tend to not want to know about the figures and the numbers and all that. That's why I need to have somebody to help me in the office.
So how many people do you have in your business?
I used to have 3, but today I have 1.
Okay.
When it's during COVID, I ended up having 1. And and this one has followed me Joey has followed me for 25 years. And 25 years, and I'm so sad I had to cut her salary the last few months.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll all hopefully come back to pre-COVID days. We'll see, right? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Things have changed.
But that's also part of the challenge of being a business owner, right? Having to work with these difficult decisions. Did you find that you were a natural at it, that you were able to take it in your stride and do it, or did you have to really dig deep to make some of the more difficult decisions?
Well, it wasn't easy or difficult. It's just that I just felt that I have to do it, because in the late 70s and early 80s, musicians just like to wait for gigs. So I said, no, we should start to create gigs and start to help people who hire musicians. So it all started like that, and everybody just have more time to organize themselves. So the musicians just have do their job and go on stage and perform, and without having to call bosses and all that. So we had one person in the company to deal with that. So it makes life a bit more organized.
Yeah. How about you, Juria? How many people do you have working with you?
Okay, it start from just me, and then I make Ramli as my business. His talent is become a business, like a commodity, So I set up a company for him, and doing his show, his concert. When we do concert in KL, we can do tour because there's so many cities. We can even fly to Sabah, Sarawak, and all. And after that, I have to take care of the we did a live concert. We record them and we make it to a TV program, and we print it in DVDs and we sell it. We are small, but sometimes for distribution, I need a big label to do it for me, like Warner Music or Universal. And we also doing his own album. We produce his own album. Of course, he's the producer, and we take care of his publishing right also. So and I have 1 or 2 guys that always with me, but the rest I just on the job basis.
So you contract whoever's needed for particular things. Yeah. Okay. So do you have merchandising in your mix as well? Do you
of course, yes.
Yeah.
That's when we have a big concert lah.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Debra? What were your first steps once you decided that you were gonna go and do this on your own?
Yeah, so actually, when I came out to do this professionally, it was I left my architecture career. I was an architect up to then, and it was a really painful decision because I was in a fantastic firm, amazing colleagues, great bosses, and there's really no reason to go other than there's this calling in my heart that was basically it's beckoning me to do it. And I just realized that if I didn't do it when I was still young in my 20s, once I became director, I go up the ranks within the organization. I'll never leave anymore because life would be too comfortable. And so when I was, so after 2 years as an architect, I thought that I had to make that decision. It was really now or never. So one of the things that I think if you're thinking of treading this path, right, that you might want to think about is that it can be very lonely. So what it didn't hit me initially because at the beginning I was very, very busy. So some of the things that to answer Kanan's question, right, that would really help you if you're trying to go the arts kind of way, right? There are lots of grants available. So NAC has got lots of grants, so you have to be a self-starter, like what Tama has said, right? In my time, there was no people like Juria, managers who will manage us. So we had to really manage ourselves at that time. I mean, there was no such thing as Fly Entertainment or any of those agencies at the time. We didn't even have the celebrity agency at the time. So you really need to be very much of a self-starter. And the other thing is, if you're young, amazing. Take advantage of your youth because a lot of people will help you when you are young. When whether it's NAC grants, sponsorships, company, if you approach companies, if they feel how much you want to make this happen, a lot of companies will find a way to help you. And that was my experience when I was starting, and there were projects that I wanted to do. I just went knocking on doors. I was quite thick-skinned, so I had to really just go and just, just try and knock on doors and try and pitch to whoever will listen to me. And even if they can't give me monetary help, I try and barter with them. Like maybe, okay, you can't give me money, maybe you can sponsor equipment or something like that to help me get the project going. So think about collaboration, working with other people. I think that's really important. And I was talking about the loneliness. As I got older, I really missed the colleagues that I had in my architecture firm. I had a huge firm, lots of amazing people around me, and I really missed that, being, doing this on my own. Very often, I do go into that, I've got nobody to talk to, no one to go and watch a movie with, no one to, bounce ideas off because, I'm a total lone ranger, right? So that was what I had experienced. And the other thing that you might want to think about if you're trying to go into this path is that because money is not always consistent, you might want to think about being an octopus. You might want to also be teaching, whatever skill you have. You might want to, a lot of my friends who are actors, right, they have something stable that's at a teaching gig that they have to pay the bills, so that they can actually continue to pursue the artistic stuff. So think about, yourself, what do you have to offer, and think about how you can actually plan in such a way that you can still have some kind of source of stability, that you don't feel like, you don't ever want to be in that desperate position where, I've got only $2 left in my bank account kind of situation, So yeah, lots of options available. Yeah.
Okay. And Helen, what was it with you?
Well,
Going down this path.
started in the interior designing industry by chance, right? Like I quit a job and then I was doing nothing because at that time I was pursuing my strategic marketing course. So I've got friends who are interior designers say, hey, why don't you come over and help out? And then that help out, that being so busybody to help out, I ended up becoming a partner in a firm. And then that's where the story goes, And then those were the days when you first started up, you're so young in your, early 20s, nobody know you, nobody know your talent, nobody know whether you're good or no good. You just have to, like what Debra say, go all your way and be so thick-skinned, pitch for projects, prove what you have. I still remember like pitching my project to the developers and got my material board thrown off. And I have to pick them up and then say, give me 1 hour, I'll come back to you, don't give up on me. And I go back to my design team and say, hey, look guys, this is the brief and let's redo the whole thing. And I go back the same day, I represented myself, and guess what? I got a job. And life goes on. So I'm saying, if you're passionate in what you're doing and you believe in what you're doing, don't give up, for goodness sake, because only you can give up on yourself, because nobody will give up on you. So that's point number one. Point number two, like what Debra rightly put, don't be left in a situation where you have only $2 in the bank. You really need to have some reserve, for this rainy day, so that you don't feel deprived, you don't feel needy. When you feel needy, people could feel it, and it's so hard to get business when you look needy. So you got to be comfortable, you got to remain happy, you got to be passionate in what you're doing, and people can see it in you and they want to be with you. They want to believe in your dream, they want to believe in your work, and they want to give you a try. And later on, when I went into my Feng Shui business, I started writing books. So every year I publish a book. So, publishing a book in Singapore is so expensive from design to production. It's absolutely crazy writing a book on a yearly basis. So I came up with the idea, like, instead of funding my own book, why don't I get a few sponsors to come in, and I give them sections and segments. So I used to write a lot on the financial market and forecast each year. So I remember one day, I have this company below my office. They're doing Forex trading. I don't know them and they don't know me. So I kind of figured out who are the people running the business. And I met him in a car park. And guess what? It was only 15 minutes of chat. I closed the deal and I got a major sponsor for my book, and they paid everything for my book. And that's it.
Another clap.
If
Well done, well
you
done.
believe in what you're doing and you want it so badly, they didn't even get a chance to see the draft. They only heard what I said, and I wanted it so badly. I painted them the picture, how we could collaborate together. And the rest of the sponsor felt the same way too, because they have no idea what this book is going to be like, until the book was published, right? But they all get soaked by the idea that, it's going to be so fun, it's going to be so unique, it's going to be so interesting when they pick up different section in my book, when they sponsor my book, and I give them all the exposure that they needed. So you see, you got to think out the box. Think out the box. Stop putting your own stumbling blocks. Stop thinking that this is not possible. Only you are the one who tell yourself it's not possible. You see, I've crossed many of such situations. Business, especially what Debra says, it's a very lonely game. You're only talking to yourself half the time. Half the time you're just thinking, am I sane, or am I crazy? Am I psychotic, or what? Like you're so lonely. Like what she said, nobody to go movie with you, nobody to brainstorm ideas with you. So you got to play out that scenario within you. What do you really want? What do you want to make that difference in your life? And you live once in this life. What do you want to leave behind, at your old age, that you can look back and put a smile on your face and say that I did it, and I did it my way, and look at me, I'm successful. So, success is only measured by yourself. Ultimately, if you're happy and you're satisfied and you're fulfilled with what you're doing, then I think you're on the right road. The rest, the rest of the measurement is really subjective. It's all up to you. If you want to get caught in a mad chase and start comparing, then I think you lost that part when it comes to too many business agenda at the back. But having said so, being sustainable, being able to survive, being able to meet ends meet is essential. And then you have to start thinking, what can you offer other than consulting? Can I teach? Yes. So I spend a great deal of my time teaching, and it helps a lot to pay the bills. Yes.
Yeah, just to add a little bit to also what Helen was saying, it doesn't have to be a lonely path. Find collaborators, like-minded people, and people who can maybe offer certain things that maybe you like what Helen says, right? Like she was working with the Forex guys downstairs who can actually help to fill in other, and even paid for the whole book, right? I mean, find other collaborators if you're an artist, right? Maybe you want to work with, you want to be Banksy, maybe you can work with somebody else who is also trying to develop paint, environmentally friendly paint or something like that. I don't know, go find collaborators.
Yeah, collaborators are essential, so that in that sense, like you get more people having fun with you, you know what I mean? Like you're not just the only one having fun. I think that helps a lot. Yes.
How much of modern technology do you use or have you taken on board, all the social media and things like that? Are you guys very adapted? Do you embrace it? Because you all come from a generation that predates social media, right?
We have to,
You have to.
What have you done with it? I mean, how have you used social media to good advantage, or technology, not just social media?
Well, actually, what's interesting was during COVID, I started putting up some of my exercise videos because, I thought, how else can I help people? motivate people to exercise more. And somebody just actually contacted up. I put it up on TikTok and Instagram, and somebody just contacted me on Instagram and asked me to train her. So now I have one student, even though I'm not really a legit fitness instructor. So yeah, so that's helped me get one fitness training gig at least.
Okay. How about you, Tama? How have you used technology in social media?
Well, I'm very active on Instagram.
Mhm.
And also on Facebook. On Instagram, I share my passion of playing and music, drumming, and the unorthodox way of my playing, and also a lot about my exercise and lifestyle and travels. But the travel story now stopped. And also, I invested in some equipment, like interface and all that for interacting with musicians in China on WeChat. And my wife bought me an iPad Pro and to facilitate this event that we're doing here. So
Good to have supportive wives, huh? Very
Yeah.
important. Supportive
Yes.
wife, very important.
So, well, it was my birthday 2 weeks ago, so that's why.
Okay, happy
Yeah.
belated
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, so being able to keep up with the world is very important as an arts practitioner. So I've enjoyed using Instagram so much that I keep about a total of 3 public Instagram accounts to connect with the world. Yeah, so Facebook is just for me to connect with Facebook friends and also what's happening in Singapore in my concerts and all that. So that has all changed because I've never imagined myself, even until today, to look at the screen and see all of us and we are communicating. Yeah, so life has changed. Yeah.
Actually, social media is amazing, especially if you are trying to brand yourself personally, right? In today's day and age, don't be scared of it, because that is actually an amazing tool and it's free. In the past, you would have to pay for this. Right now, it's completely free. And if you have a voice or something you want to say, you can, start your own YouTube channel. So I was very passionate about the Me Too movement a couple of years ago. So I started the channel and I interviewed people to actually talk about this sexual harassment topic, which I was really passionate about. And a lot of people were, they were really supportive. British High Commission actually sponsored my the launch of the show. So, and I got write-ups from the newspapers and online media. So don't be afraid of it, because it is free, and use it, because you don't have to pay for it. And yeah, I mean, okay, the backlash of that was also that I also had people trolling me a little bit. So I had people who were opposed to some of the ideas that I was talking about, right? And some people actually had I was bullied as well online. So there's 2 sides to it. You want to be prepared. If you are vocal enough, great, you have your voice heard, but you also want to be emotionally and mentally prepared that there could be the flip side. So yeah, but just don't be afraid of it.
Yeah, agree. I fully agree. Yeah, we're very fortunate in this age and era, right? That we have technology and like what Debra says, free. So it took me so many years, and finally I was kind of forced into having my own YouTube channel. Oh my God, doing this video production. Oh my God, it's like, if you are just not comfortable in putting yourself in front of the camera and speak to the camera, then this is kind of a challenge, but you just have to overcome it. When you can't see people, you can't meet people, and how are you going to brand yourself? If you have social media, you got to use it wisely. We use the word wisely. So how would anyone know that you exist? If you have an idea, you have a voice, and seriously you want to be heard, then for goodness sake, please say it, share it, but be responsible for what you're saying, and also be prepared for those who will challenge you, those who will disagree with you, and but life goes on, right? That's how you learn. Yeah.
Okay, so we're into the last minute of today's session. I just wanted to get a sense, if there are any questions out there, feel free to put them up. I see there have been some going on in the chat, and I think they've been addressed as we've been talking. But how do you how do you get through a tough time like this, right, and bounce back, because you don't have support infrastructure so much. You are the infrastructure. How do you build that resilience to cope with something else that might come up? Have you re-strategized in any way, given this time, in terms of what you're going to be doing? Very quickly, in a sentence or two from each of you. Maybe Helen, yeah, can start the ball rolling.
Yes, like I mentioned earlier, I really have to remodel the way I do things. I have to think more on how can I go digital, because going face to face is a little bit more challenging. And not only that, your clients are very budget conscious. How can you then break things down so that the client don't see it too big? Like small bite size. You can offer services where people are still comfortable, tailor services based on their budgets. And think out of the box. Help them as you help yourself. So I think as business owner, you don't just think about your own business agenda. You have to think about the consumers. You have to think about your clients. How can you help them in order for them to help you at the same time? Yes.
Okay. Debra?
Well, a lot of my programs have gone virtual, so you probably have seen that a lot of theatre has gone virtual as well, and a lot of my corporate training has also become virtual training sessions, and even my coaching sessions are all virtual rather than in person. The other thing that I did I use this time for self-improvement as well. So I took courses to make myself better, to improve my skills, and so that when the time comes, I'm ready to take on even greater challenges.
Okay, cool. Juria?
Okay, we accept the slowdown, but I still have to continue creating things. Like, let's say we are more time in Singapore. I created his YouTube channel, improve it a bit, adding more program every time, and I'm doing vlog also for him, and we're still in editing stages, and we also
For the album,
not only for the album, we're doing like a Singapore scene and focus on the mosque in Singapore, thing like that. The blog, I have 4 series blog is on the way, and we still see corporate company also to do his virtual concert. Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. And Tama?
Well, I continue to practice my art, and also I won't stop teaching. I'll continue to teach, and also I'm actually considering to know more about the fitness instruction and all that. So I'm basically right now learning and getting to know people to get involved with the fitness industry.
Oh, okay. That's a bit of a switch from your drumming, but I suppose you need to be fit to be able to keep on
Well,
drumming, right?
Yeah, well, you see, I don't work with fear, so a lot of love. So whatever I do, is either I send love to people or I have to love myself.
Okay. Very good.
Well,
Love,
I like
no
that.
fear.
That's the way to
Be
go.
brave. Yes, I think
Yes.
these are all important things for anybody sort of taking
Yes.
this big step into doing things on your own, right? So,
And it's so nice to meet all of you. Like you are like my life teacher today.
Likewise,
Thank you.
I think everybody's learned from everybody from this
Yes.
session. Wonderful. Thank you so much, all of you. I know it was a short session. I'm sure that we could have gone on a bit longer, but never mind. I still have to have a certain amount of discipline as far as this is concerned, right? So thanks so much, Tama, Juria, Debra, and Helen for sharing all your information.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to the audience for being there and chatting as well. Look forward to seeing all of you for real face-to-face soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Take
Thanks. Take
care.
care.
All the best, everyone.
Bye.
Whatever you do your best.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.